It's your turn.
Are we on?
Yes, we're on.
Hey, how you all doing? I have no idea how great this is going to be or how bad this is going to be. This is the main event right here on the Inside Edge Network. We're going to see if this aged like fine wine or rotten eggs. I am Rob Royzcki. To my right, we have Eli Moon, and then to his right, we have Anthony Alford. Again, I have absolutely no idea how this is going to go, and I'm not sure if Anthony or Eli do. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
I think we're screwed.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we're screwed.
I mean, we're going on an hour and 4 minutes late, so I'm very happy with our punctuality.
Hey, listen. I mean, we're on all those streaming platforms and stuff, which is crazy.
Yes, yes, we had you fiddling with every all sorts of what are we on the Instagrams and the Facebooks and the Snap faces.
Yeah,
classes paid off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, 10 years ago. Yes.
Ain't that the truth?
So, we are going to be sitting here, every Sunday night now, getting together and going over the news of the week in the sports world and what's going on in the rest of the world and what's going on in our world. So, now we are.
There's proof that we are on.
Oh, Jesus Lord. We are on the internet. And so people are actually seeing this. I'm going to apologize in advance, but yes, we're going to be here just kind of shooting the poop on the sports world and what's going on in our lives in general. And right now we are smack dab in the middle of week 1 of the NFL season. We're actually broadcasting to you live with about 12 minutes to go in the first half of the Ravens and Bills game. Ravens are up 10-7. I guess we could probably start there with the first batch of NFL games already in. Gentlemen, what was your biggest surprise of this NFL week 1 docket? And if you say the Browns, I'll be a little surprised.
No,
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get this out.
Kids in your phones.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get
We're
this
live
out.
here,
I know we're live.
I understand.
We're trying to learn. Look, listen.
Yes.
Okay. When we did this 10 years ago,
Yeah.
on at the school,
We were a little bit more organized, a little bit more structured, and slightly more sober. Yeah. What's going on?
We only did radio.
Yeah.
We only we did a ton of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
For radio, nobody saw it.
I understand.
We gotta I gotta share this. I gotta put this on the face because we're not gonna be on Facebook for 60 days.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I understand this, but we got to figure out a way to do this when I ask you a direct question.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
I'm
Eli.
I'm sorry.
Maybe Eli,
you go
answer
first.
this
I'll take it away.
because
Eli, you go first. My
maybe
bad.
He might be prepared.
I got it. So here's the thing. NFL crazy this week. If you're a Browns fan, we'll get to that later. But I think my biggest surprise is how flat the Carolina Panthers were because of all the offseason rave about them. Everybody talked about how Bryce Young looked better in the second half of the season. How that, this is a young team. They just got Ted McMillan at receiver. And I'm not saying that these guys aren't good, but for the situation that they were put in, you're talking about all off season long, and now you're playing the Jaguars, who I guess, yes, they have talent. They have Travis Hunter. They have Lawrence. I get it. It's a winnable game, and you lost by 16. It's kind of like, okay, so I was never on that train, but now I'm completely
it might be a winnable game. Yeah. I mean, you can be cool on them for sure in the first week of the season, but again, Liam Cohen out there with Jacksonville, you never quite know. I wrote him off pretty much from the second he looked into the camera and said Duval, and it got a little creepy, and I didn't know what he was doing. But there's still an off chance that the Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence, who at one point in time was a good quarterback and was highly thought of, can turn it around. So, I understand maybe a team like Carolina, you don't have the confidence in because they don't have the track record, but one game does not a season make, and this could be an anomaly, and we could see a pretty decent Carolina team.
Maybe, but I just think this is such a winnable game. It's like you're playing Trevor Lawrence, who it just hasn't been really impressive in the NFL.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter was the big rave about the Jaguars. There's really not much to like other than Travis Hunter and maybe a few other guys. So I think this is a very winnable game, and it's we'll touch on it with obviously the hometown team and some other teams around the league. These are winnable games. You're not going up against we're talking about the Ravens and Bills. This is I mean, that's a tough week 1 game. Like, you lose this one, it's like, okay, just dust yourself off, get to week 2. Losing that by 16 to the Jaguars,
and if you are a Browns fan, Lamar scored. If you are a Browns fan, that was not a good result either, because you are rooting for Jacksonville to go 0-17, for that top pick, and now getting that W against Carolina, that's not good either. It's just like, that's tough. I mean,
again, but we saw this, what happened with the Saints last year. They looked great for the first week or 2 of the season, and then that was about it. And they were top 2 or 3 in the draft. Yeah. We could see what happened. What happened with that. Yeah, they looked good. But at the same time, just like I don't trust Carolina, I still don't trust Jacksonville either. So, who could?
Well, can they consistently use Travis Hunter in every
without
down?
Him getting killed?
Yeah,
that might be one of the biggest surprises, that he did survive.
100%.
I think that's 100%. A problem, though. That's a problem. I think you got to decide whether. I know it's the lore of like I'm playing both sides, but bro, you had 1 tackle on defense. No shade, because
I think he had 6 snaps on defense. He did not play much on defense at all.
Yeah, and like
that's a true definition of situational.
Yeah, and at that point, like, put him 6 more snaps on offense. He had, I think, 6. I want to say 4 receptions.
No, it was 6. It was 6 catches. 6?
Yeah, I know he had 4 to 6 catches. I mean, he got the ball on offense. I just think that's where he should be playing.
I think that's where it's going to stay.
Yeah.
I think when you have that type of player, it's always like, oh, yeah, let's use him on defense. You all know when you see him, the coaches, when you see him run a couple routes, catch a couple balls, you look at the rest of your offense, we kind of need that X factor.
Well, 6 catches for 33 yards. He was basically one of the 3 top options for the Jacksonville Jags. So, I mean, he'll grow into that, and I think he'll be more valuable on the other side, on that side of the ball. I mean, we just see what happens with the money in the NFL. The receivers get more money than the corners for a reason.
100%.
You need people to catch the ball. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with Carolina, and if they can expound upon this. I don't even know who they have next week at this rate. It'll be the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. So. And they'll be going to the desert. So we'll see what happens with them on the road.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
My last thing on the Carolina Panthers, maybe this is, a little rough towards Bryce Young, but I think this is the make or break it year. Like I said, with everything talked about, in the offseason and stuff, this is, at least in Carolina, this is the make it or break it the year. If you don't, they already said at them last year, if you don't come out and show that you can actually lead a team to wins, which is what the NFL is about, then I think we're seeing a change in Carolina, and they could be even back in the quarterback hunt come draft.
Well,
which is a while away.
They had Frank Reich to start out with. They canned him 10 games into that season.
Yeah,
he actually has the same coaching staff out there back-to-back years, and then you combine that with the fact too that he was one of the more controversial number 1 picks.
100%.
He was a undersized number 1 pick. So I mean, if he does not work out well and combined with a decent quarterback class, if they have an opportunity to take a quarterback, they will.
And it's year 3, right?
Year 3, and they said year 2.
No more excuses, right? No more excuses.
And remember, the only reason why he even has his job right now is because Andy Dalton got into a car accident last year.
100%.
So if that didn't happen, he might be looking for work at the end of that season anyway.
And again, look, with Carolina, we did the preview show yesterday, and our guy TK, he's all in on Carolina, and I told him, like, hey, you want to come on the air today? Like, dude, he was just start cursing until the cows come home. He was like, let me wait till tomorrow, legal formation, we'll wait for that. But that's tough. For me, what the hell happened to Detroit? What happened to the Lions today?
See, that didn't surprise me.
Really?
Why? Yeah, that didn't. Well, I mean, maybe the score did, but the result in itself did not surprise me at all. Detroit going against Green Bay, big primetime game, 4:00 game on CBS.
CBS, because conference network affiliations no longer matter,
and it ended up being a 2-touchdown blowout whooping in Lambeau. Number one, it was in Lambeau, and then I think we underestimate the value of coordinators. The offensive coordinator for Detroit last year, Ben Johnson, he is now Caleb Williams' head coach in Chicago.
Yeah, and they're going to play tomorrow.
And the defensive coordinator just lost to Pittsburgh as the new head coach of the New York Jets. So they've had a lot of upheaval in that coaching staff. Yeah, they've signed extensions. I think they were signing, Jameson Williams even signed this afternoon. They offensive line, they have their guys there, but this upheaval in the coaching staff, Dan Campbell hasn't had to deal with that yet. So, that's honestly why I was a little cooler on them for fantasy prospects, along with possibly, they're not going to go, 14-3 again.
And again, like I understand when Micah Parsons is on your football team, like all of a sudden, you got to look at Green Bay as like legitimate championship contender. Like for me, before Parsons joined the team, you always looked at Green Bay like, can they stay healthy? Can Jordan Love like continue his evolution? I've been impressed with Jordan Love, and I like their receiving core, but every single week somebody new's hurt, and it's a tough division. But Parsons, I think he had just over 30 snaps in this game, only one snap in the first quarter.
And then he ramped him up throughout the game. Yeah. And he made his presence known. He, some hurries in there. He did disrupt some plays. Not a whole lot of stats on the sheet, but he was there for sure.
You could tell he was in the game.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell like there was flow. And I think to your point, Rob, about Ben Johnson, not being there anymore. Like I think that offense is gonna take work because there are so many pieces, Eli.
Yeah.
There are so many pieces to that Lions offense, the way that Ben Johnson was able to make it work. And now it seemed to me like it was just, hey, let's just put, we got Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's just put him in the backfield.
Right.
And that's it.
I think it's unfortunate that Aiden Hutchinson got hurt last year. I think it's unfortunate that I feel like the Lions are like one of these teams. I thought we were talking about this a little bit earlier, like before we got on air, that the Lions are one of these teams that have notoriously not had a huge window of winning. Like we've seen at least, in the last 20 something years, right? 20, 30 years. And I think, unfortunately, it just seems like they got to the highest point they'll get to. They were just that close to the Super Bowl. And I know that's like a hot take, but it's like I just feel like the Lions are one of those teams where now they've lost both their coordinators. Like to your guys' point, they've lost both their coordinators. So now it's like
last year was their chance.
You have all the talent last year. You have everybody there. You still have all that talent, but you need some direction. And as much as of a rah-rah guy as Campbell, and he's a good coach, but I mean, obviously we're seeing that those guys played a big impact last year.
No, I'm not trying to compare the two because obviously the resumes are different. But if you look at like what New England did under Bill Belichick, they were good at bringing up new coordinators. Charlie Weiss became Josh McDaniels. Romeo Crennel, became all these great assistants that Belichick had, and were the next big thing and would always fall apart. Brian Flores comes to mind. But so they could cultivate assistants well. Now we get to see if Dan Campbell can do the same thing, because that's just part of life in the NFL. Is if you have a good offense, you're probably going to lose your coordinator. That's why all these teams want offensive coordinators as head coaches, because if your head coach is running the offense, you're never going to lose them unless you fire them.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be up to Dan Campbell. It's going to be up to that Lions organization to see if there are guys. I believe Johnny Morton, the old receiver, is the new offensive coordinator.
I think so. How about that?
And Campbell likes his former players. You look at Aaron Glenn. He had a 15-year-long playing. He was actually a first-round pick of the Jets before he was the head coach. So, we'll see if they can come up with more guys out there to lead this team, because they are uber talented. They know how to run the ball. And keep in mind too, while that while they're rebuilding that defense right now, that same defense looked pretty shaky under Aaron Glenn for the first few weeks of the season.
100%.
So, I think, it's going to take a little bit of time to round into shape, but I wasn't surprised about the a sluggish start with this team to start things out with.
Now, are we just doing surprises because we're no longer surprised about what goes on at 1 o'clock? The games that we see here.
I want to throw in my surprise because you guys aren't letting me do that here.
We're already starting off like, oh man, you're not letting Rob do that.
Well, I think it's worth noting here because it's a big story too that somehow, even though it took last season 3 games to do so, the Pittsburgh Steelers scored 4 touchdowns in 1 game.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
And I think that
incredible.
And I think in the bigger
that is incredible for them.
But you want to go, it is. I mean, you look at this offensively challenge team. We all thought Arthur Smith was the dumbest thing ever. We thought Matt Canada before him was the dumbest thing ever. And this might be a change that out in Pittsburgh. And who knows, it is one game and it's the Jets. So we don't know really much about
But
either.
the Jets
They did look good. Justin Fields looked okay.
Yeah, and the Jets had a top-notch defense.
And the Jets also gashed that Pittsburgh defense too pretty well. So there are some issues over there.
Yeah.
But the whole thing in Pittsburgh, even if it is for 1 year, if they have the quarterback figured out now, then that's going to change the entire complexion of the AFC.
100%.
That's going to look, all of a sudden now you're going to put pressure in this AFC North. It might not be a foregone conclusion that is Baltimore and then Cincinnati is a strong number 2 and then Cleveland and Pittsburgh duking it out for that last spot. Now you have another team that could potentially be in the run for a division title. I'm not going to say in the run for a bye. I don't think they're that good to be the number 1 overall seed. But you're going to have a new player in that conference that maybe you didn't expect. And that means one of the guys like a San Diego, like a Vegas, like maybe even Kansas City, if they falter a little bit, they could be on the outside looking in because there are just so many stacked teams in this conference that another team at that party could knock out somebody who could legitimately win a Super Bowl.
Moon, you want to go first? You want me to take this?
You go ahead, Double A.
Let me ask you this. All right, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Are you, just full disclosure, I mean, you obviously cover Cleveland, of course, Pittsburgh, all that, the Steelers. Are you prepared? Have you fully ingrained yourself in the Aaron Rodgers experience?
Oh, I hate him.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And it's so crazy because listen here, America, he doesn't deserve Aaron Rodgers because he's the only quarterback in the league that truly speaks his mind, is freaking awesome, and Royzcki gets him. Isn't that
my
the
issue,
life of a Cleveland Browns fan?
My issue with him is that, especially the 2 years that he was in playing for the Jets, maybe the last year was in Green Bay, there was a lot of drama that was swirling around him that distracted from the team. And I'm worried that, I'm reasonably sure the Steelers are not going to go 17-0 this year, that if there is any sort of hiccup in this season, that all of a sudden the guy who was one of the solutions today, along with Jalen Ramsey, the 2 new guys came through big for the Steelers today. But both of these guys can be a solution to a problem, but they can also be the cause of a problem too. And that's what I would be worried about with this team.
Well,
and that's what I'm worried about with him.
And I'm arguing for this, the Steelers, I guess, because I'm arguing for Rodgers. But it's but how much of a problem has this guy really been? He was in Green Bay for how many years? How many games did he miss? For as much of a problem he is, he's always out there being one of the best quarterbacks in football, besides getting hurt in New York 2 years ago and being out basically the whole year. I mean, the guy has not been much of a problem.
Ask Robert Saleh, how much drama he causes. The dude, he basically gutted that head coaching staff out in
New York.
But how many head coaching opportunity or even interviews has Saleh had since
he's
then?
now the DC back in San Francisco.
Right.
But he brought in his dudes, all of a sudden, remember the Devontae Adams trade happened, dudes like Alan Lazard show up. Mm-hmm. Now, Pittsburgh, I think, was a strong enough organization to look at him and say, if you want to come here, you're not going to necessarily get your ways, but he can definitely stir up the pot. If he's talking about his teammates on Pat McAfee, if, he's undermining, what the head coach is trying to say. Remember, he was going off on, he was in Egypt during a mandatory workout, and that was causing drama. And Saleh was asking, answering questions about that. He has a knack of kicking up dust wherever he goes. And okay, if he keeps winning, if this thing keeps calm, and you got Mike Tomlin there who looks like he could kill a man at almost any second, then that might work out.
I don't know. I just disagree because I think at this point, Aaron Rodgers
is 41 years old.
Put up 4 touchdowns. The Steelers offense put up 4 touchdowns today. And
he had them all, 244 for 4 tutties. No picks, by the way.
And that's my point.
It was vintage Rodgers.
And it was no shade towards Robert Saleh. He's a great defensive coordinator. But he may never be a head coach, at least for the foreseeable future. And everybody's making it out to be because of Rodgers. But that was Rodgers' first year in the offense.
With the offensive coordinator he brought in, Nathaniel Hackett.
Sure, but at the end of the day, the team was underperforming. It's not only on Rodgers.
Oh, I understand. And Rodgers, the last 8 weeks of the season last year was pretty good. I'm not saying
the
he
whole
was
team was
dreadful, but at the same time, he didn't help the situation out.
I know, but that defense last year, everybody forgets that. Like, and I love Sauce Gardner. He was not as good as he was his rookie year, or when he first got into the league. He's still a great corner, but they had dips on that defensive side too, where Rodgers was duking it out last minute of some of these games. I don't know, Rob. I'm mad that I'm arguing for you, but I think it's going to work out for the Steelers.
I do like how we actually turned Eli Moon into an advocate for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So.
Just Aaron Rodgers. Just Aaron Rodgers.
I was going to say, even just for Aaron Rodgers, and what concerns me, first off, big statement, but then the post-game comments, we heard it before we came on the air. It's like, I wanted to beat every member of the Jets, basically. To say that publicly, right? What's going to happen? And we know it's coming. You know it's coming more than anybody. What's going to happen when he disagrees with Mike Tomlin or something? And it's public.
Well, and the thing is that if that happens, he's going to be the one to make it public, and that's what I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
That's that, and you have Tomlin and Rodgers both, who are very strong-willed people, and I don't think I don't see either one of them backing down. They both have basically the same resume. They played each other in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
and so
it will be even
both
worse.
have all the reason in the world to say I'm right because I've done it this way for a while and it's worked out pretty well.
And with Rodgers, it will be even worse because he's very, very passive aggressive. Like you gotta listen to what he's saying and then read his face.
Yeah.
Read his body language.
I don't know, man.
Oh yeah, we'll see what happens with a good start for Pittsburgh.
Hopefully they lose the rest of their games.
Well,
that's pretty. Yeah, that'll be
hopefully
nice.
Rodgers just does exactly what you are worried about.
Well, the Seahawks. I think you're hoping I'm right, and I'm hoping you're right. So at that point, we'll see what happens. Pittsburgh has Seattle coming up next week, and the Jets are facing these Buffalo Bills, who are down 17-10 with about 2.5 minutes to go in the first half here. Derrick Henry is just a man among boys.
I was going to say that's not a highlight. That's live.
No, this is live. Yeah, he is just.
I felt like I saw him just do that exact same run. He scored.
Yeah, it is absolutely. He is thrashing this Baltimore defense. 7 carries, about 101 yards all the way, and we're not even at the half. Yeah. But this is the main event on Inside Edge Network. We're talking a little NFL action, our biggest surprises of what's transpired in the first week of the NFL season. And we're also, at the same time, we are procrastinating about talking about what nobody really wants to talk about. And that was the carnage, the crime that was committed downtown Cleveland at 1:00 this afternoon. The Cincinnati Bengals paid us a visit, and even though the Bengals have a rough time against the Cleveland Browns, they still did, but they needed to have a rougher time for the Browns to have a chance. Browns go down in heartbreaking fashion, 17-16. We can really look at just a few plays in this game to get this conversation started. I will let you two
I think
really kind of get going on this, and I will sip my drink here quietly.
Look, man, I think it all started when Double A's car had a situation.
It did.
We'll get to that in a second. But truly, I'm going
to sit here because my team won this week.
Okay, listen. I'm going to be so real with everybody right now. Guys here, everybody at home watching, thank you for tuning in. We've got like 20 people tuned in right now, which is sick. Here's my thought. I get one time a year, Double A, where I get to get mad, like angry, like Bruce Banner into the Hulk, mad about the Browns. And then I breathe the rest of the season. Whatever happens, I'm tuned into fantasy. I got parlays to play. I'm not worried about anything else. I didn't think I'd have to expend my energy on a week 1 game where I sat and told everybody week long, like literally last week even, I'm like, Browns got week 1 because the Bengals have the worst defense in the NFL. They are notorious for struggling with the Cleveland Browns, especially in Cleveland. And here we are. We're just sitting here, and we still can't figure out a kicker. Everybody wanted Hopkins gone. Yeah, I still would have took Hopkins because guess what? maybe I'm crazy. Hopkins makes that kick today. He struggled later in the year. He did not struggle. He did not struggle later he struggled more later in the year. That's fact check me. And if I'm wrong, I wasn't. But at the end of the day, it comes down to this. You're trying to put Joe Flacco into a position where I love him. He's 40 years old. He's in his 40s. He's a gunslinger, yes, but you're trusting him to gunsling to win the game. You have no rushing attack. Hopefully Judkins is the answer.
40 yards on the day.
Royzcki, I get it, man. We don't know how to run. We don't know how to kick the football. But you know what we do? We support. And we should have had that W today. In fact, Bleacher Report put it as a 19-16 W. And then they took it off the board because I had to go run. Yeah,
I think a lot of here's the truth too. It's we joke all the time, and I know Chad brought it up on our preview shows. Like any way the Browns can find new creative ways to lose, they do. Nope. So literally when your kicker can't get the job done, like it's a 1 point difference, and then all right, end of the game, you're driving down the field. Flacco had 2 interceptions on the stat sheet that were not his fault. Like, your receivers can't catch. And this is year 6 of Stefanski and Andrew Berry. Mm-hmm. So you're 6 years in, and most NFL teams have kickers who can make those kicks. That's not Andrew Berry. That's not your scouts. You're not bringing in the right people who can produce and make those things happen.
I agree with that.
You're just not. So that's I can understand year 1, year 2. We're year 6 now.
But I think it's also this. And I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, at the end of the day, if the Browns decide after this year they're going to get rid of Kevin Stefanski no matter what we do, and obviously they don't even consider if we're doing bad, I think it'd be the worst move they could make. Because at the end of the day, he is getting the most out of this squad. He is playing, like I said, love Flacco, a 40-year-old quarterback, no rushing attack. I mean, they have no offensive identity right now. And yes, I guess that does fall back a little bit on Stefanski, but when you're handed a bunch of mismatches, he has not had continuity in the offense since Baker was here.
But Baker's been gone for 4 years now.
Yeah, he has 3 division titles.
Baker has been gone.
I'm sorry, 2.
And I understand the frustration. The fact that we're having this conversation. The fact that we're having this conversation in terms of who's to blame between Stefanski and Berry? Is there enough talent? Are you getting enough out of your offense? There's a stat we're gonna pull up in a little bit. In the second half, Cincinnati only had 7 yards of total offense, and we still lost the game.
Actually, while you're bringing up stats, here's some more numbers for you, gentlemen. First downs, Cleveland had twice as many as Cincinnati, 22-11. They ran almost twice as many plays. They took total yards. Cleveland had 327. Cincinnati had 141. For those of you scoring at home, it's about 160 yards difference. They doubled the output of the Cincinnati Bengals. They also doubled their yards per play. Passing yards, the Browns won that 278-95. They were actually pretty even on rushing, but at the same time, that didn't matter for time of possession. The Browns won that by 11 minutes, 35 and change to 24 and change. But the only stat they really didn't win, there was 2 big ones. And I don't have them in front of me. The 2 turnovers that the Browns had, I think 6 drops the Browns had, and then the 17 points the Bengals had compared to the 16 points. You guys won that game in pretty much every way, shape, and form except for the actual score. Good job, guys.
So here's the thing. I just think, I don't know. Do we bring
It's not even surprising anymore.
It's not surprising, but it's frustrating because at this point, we just talked about it for a few seconds there about Berry and Stefanski. And the last point I'll make on that is there has been situations in the NFL, in the history of the NFL, where coaches have stayed and GMs, have been fired. Mm-hmm. Boom, get rid of them, and then it works out still for the organization. I just think you still got to keep Stefanski because, like I said, it's on the guy who's bringing the talent in. He has not had any offensive identity. But when you're working with a different quarterback every year, you're tied down to I know he's not playing this year, but they were tied down to the Watson contract. Still tied down, but
and watch, he'll still play this year. He's going to play.
Okay, the thing is, though, does Stefanski not have the right quarterback, or is he the quarterback guy? Because I don't think both can be true at the same. Because if he's the quarterback guy, and to his credit, he has actually gotten most of these guys up and running. The only dude that he couldn't get any sort of production out of was the dude they paid $250 million.
Yeah,
correct, right.
But at sooner than later, okay, it's up to him. He's the offensive guru. He's the one who's supposed to be in charge of this offense. So if they don't have an offensive identity, whose fault is that?
Rob, they let go of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the last 2 seasons consecutively, and have now trotted out Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, and Sanders. I can't remember the guy's first name. No disrespect, I just can't remember. And it's like, we're at a point where you can only coach to a certain degree. They were 1 point away from winning the game. That's not on Kevin Stefanski, because a kicker can't make a kick in early September. Yeah. That is not on Kevin Stefanski. Who is that on? Andrew Berry, for bringing in a lack of talent at key positions.
We could debate all day about the coaching. Right. I don't think we could debate that this is a bad roster.
Bad.
I don't think, I honestly believe that the roster quality is not even debatable.
Well, the other part that they're dealing with is the loss of, along with the $250 million and all the cap room, the 3 first-round picks and several, I think it was 2 second-round picks they gave up for Watson. So, you see what happens to a roster without first or second-round picks. When Michael Hall is your number 1 pick guy in the 3rd round, you don't typically do all that well. And mix that with the fact that Barry has not exactly hit like a Sean McVay or Andy Reid or any of these guys that know how to pluck dudes out of the lower rounds of the draft. You're a little screwed when it comes down to roster construction. And now you have that weight of the cap around your neck, too, with this albatross.
Well, and the thing...
So it's tough for Barry. I think ultimately, if you're looking at whose fault this is, Andrew Barry or Kevin Stefanski, I would say is Jimmy Haslam's.
100%.
Because he is the one right now. You can tell that he was the one that brought Watson in, because neither one of these guys got fired for doing it. That is a $250 million mistake in any line of work. If sports or otherwise, you get shit canned.
100%. Yeah.
Doing something like that.
Yeah.
Unless it's your boss that told you to do it and he has some patience with you. And I think that's what happened with both these guys. They were hired at roughly the same time. They get extended at the same time. They are married to each other. They are common law married by this point. If one goes, the other one's going. If one stays, the other one stands. So at this point in time, if you're going to look for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, I would look at Jimmy Haslam. Now, that being said, none of that excuses Andrew Berry for not being able to find a damn kicker.
I will say this to Eli's point, too. And to your point, that's a whole bigger discussion.
Yeah.
We can.
That's off season.
That is because
buffoonery.
Because that's malpractice. Like malpractice. Wow, this is late. It's malpractice. Like, that's a bigger discussion. To your point, though, you can only. I mean, it's hard for me to stick up for Stefanski in any way, shape, or form. I understand what you're saying, though.
Yeah,
I do get it. I do get, like, yeah, if you have to roll out Jacoby Brissett, you have to roll out some of these other scrubs,
right?
Offensively,
right?
I get all that,
right?
But on the offensive side, when guys aren't catching the football that should be catching the football, Jerry Judy's not coming up, the way he should be. Cedric Tillman not showing up.
Those are the 2 guys that are going to be thankful for Andre Schmidt more than anybody, because if he didn't blow that kick and they still lose that game, they're looking at every single one of those drops. They had a bad drop right before halftime on a 4th and 5. They turned it over on downs. They actually had 2 in a row. Harold Fannin, I'll give him a break because he's a rookie.
BG.
It was his first game.
BG.
And I'll give him a break because it was his first game and it was 1 drop, but the next one was done by Jerry Jeudy, and that's your veteran. That's supposed to be your horse. That's supposed to be your thoroughbred number 1 receiver. You can't be dropping balls in that situation and giving Cincinnati primo field position.
We have seen in major games, we saw CeeDee Lamb on Thursday night, and we see Jerry Jeudy. We've seen receivers this year in week 1. I guess this is my biggest surprise, period. Drop balls.
Yep.
And no matter what, the number one job of an
In big
NFL
spots.
wide receiver, the number one receiver is to catch the football. And in the case of the Browns,
and we've seen a lot of receivers here go through with hands problems, and we just don't know why they're even here. 2
of our top receivers not only drop the ball doesn't go to the ground when they drop it. It magically pops in the air and goes into the hands of the Bengals twice. And Flacco has 2 interceptions at the end because his receivers didn't come through. Joe Flacco did not fail today. His receivers failed.
Now, that being said, I will give a bright spot to Harold Fan in the Bowling Green tight end. 9 targets. He did have 7 catches and 63 yards. Pretty good debut for a rookie tight end, especially in a position that we normally see. It kind of takes a year for them to ferment and for them to, kind of grow and develop as a player. So
I think that's
I'll give him that.
I
But
think that's also a nod to Flacco, though, because you saw him involved in Njoku got into the offense once he brought him in. So I think having Flacco there is actually going to be huge for the development of Fannin.
And you're also seeing, too, remember, Elijah Moore was supposed to be in this role because he was in the slot, or the Wildcat.
Yeah.
And Elijah Moore was supposed to be there, and that didn't work out. So now, we're going to use this kid.
And if we want to walk past the emotion of how the hell did we blow that game, which are all valid things. You shouldn't be missing a 35-yard field goal in that situation. You shouldn't be missing an extra point. You shouldn't be dropping balls like that. But if you're looking at more of a long view, Fannin, and you look at Carson Schlesinger, that linebacker, second rounder they drafted out of UCLA, led the team in tackles today. He was all over the field. I believe he's they were working with him in training camp with the green dot on the helmet. So he is well beyond his years as a rookie. We're talking about Andrew Berry not being able to draft. It looks like with at least a couple of these guys early onset, literally 60 minutes into the season, it looks like we do have a couple of players here in that draft class.
And defensively, right? I mean,
that defense was on point.
The defense is on point.
There is no complaint you can make about that defense.
And here's the thing, and that's why, emotionally, this is tough. But, I mean, at the end of the day, win the effing game, right? Win the game.
Yeah.
But it is tough, though, because you kind of saw the formula of, what they're going to have to do all season, which is, okay, when you're going to face Aaron Rodgers twice a year, Joe Burrow twice a year, Lamar, who's going, and Derrick Henry's going crazy twice a year, and we're going to face Josh Allen this year, that defense is going to have to hold all of those teams to, the threshold, I think, is 16, 17 points, what it was today.
And it's almost like they're playing the same game as the baseball team here in town, as the Cleveland Guardians. And you get the same reaction with a blown field goal and a blown save. Because the Guardians right now, offensively challenged, same kind of thing. You're relying on your pitching staff. You're relying on keeping the team off the scoreboard, the opposition off the scoreboard. And when you see Cade Smith blow a save, when you see Hunter Gaddis blow a save, everything goes to plan. Hey, we took the lead. We're up 3-0. We're up 3-2, whatever it is. The bullpen's doing its job. And then the script suddenly goes off the rails. And you see that reliever go in there, put a couple of runners on, blow that save up, and you lost the game before what happened. That's exactly what happened today. Defense kept it close. Your old Yoda-wise quarterback figured out a way to get the team within field goal distance, to give them a chip shot to win. Exactly what Aaron Rodgers did today in Pittsburgh with that 60-yard field goal from Boswell. The old quarterback got him in the position to do his job. The kicker did his job. Everybody wins. Happy, happy, joy, joy. That script was there until the kicker didn't do his job.
I'll say
this. And
this.
That's why everyone's frustrated right now.
I'll say this. And I know this game's only at, at the midway point, or, the Sunday night game with Baltimore and Buffalo. Forgive me. I don't think the Browns score next week in Baltimore. I don't. I really don't. At the end of the day, seeing how they performed today, reminder against one of the worst, if not the worst, defense in the NFL and you put up 16 points, and you're going into Baltimore next week. I just think it's going to be bad because and the defense is in a position where they could be as great as they want to be, but when you're on the field a lot of the time, and I think that's going to be the case because Baltimore is a tough-nosed team, I think it's going to be a long day for that Browns defense. I think you're going to see a lot of Lamar Jackson running the football, getting to the seams there. Derrick Henry pounding the football. I think the Browns are in for a long week next weekend, a long game next weekend. I think they're in trouble.
If you see how Flacco, that first touchdown they scored in the, I believe in the second quarter, all Flacco did was pick on the cornerbacks. I mean, they got half that, those yards. A lot of that progress was made from PI calls, from illegal contact. It was a wily quarterback taking advantage of a crap defense across the way. Right. So you're not going to be able to do that against Kyle, Hamilton and all these guys who are just no, it ain't going to happen. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be tough, but Double A, do you want to some final thoughts on this Browns game before we move on to sports other than football? I know it's weird. We're sitting in September, but there's other shit to talk about than the NFL. Double A, how you doing?
I'm good. No, I just want to say the day was great. And then 1 o'clock happened, but I think that's really the big thing. Is like, for me personally as a fan, and covering, it's so numb now. Like, you understand? Like, I can understand if you're like a different fan base and you lose that way. It's like, how in the world do you lose that way? But it's like you've been cheated on millions and millions of times. And after a while, it's just like, you already know, like, she's going to screw up in some way, shape, or form. So like, I don't feel any type of emotion anymore. Like, I'm cold-blooded right now when it comes to the Browns.
The way I look at it, there's a Thomas Edison quote. He tried to make the light bulb and he failed about 1,000 times or 2,000 times, whatever it was, before he came up with the one that worked. And somebody asked him, he goes, how did it feel to fail 2,000 times? He goes, I didn't fail 2,000 times. I just figured out 2,000 different ways not to make a light bulb. It's not that the Browns are screwing up. They're just figuring out new ways to lose games. That's really what's happening.
New creative ways
to not win games here. Yeah.
It's we always talk about culture. Yep. Always, right? Winning teams find a way to win those games. Losing teams find a way to lose those games. And in every league, you kind of skate by that. But the NFL, that's 100% true.
Well, because the games are so close. Because
they're so close.
Like, you can look at about about 4 or 5 drops and 2 missed kicks in this game, and that's pretty much the difference right now.
Yeah, and it's the solution is we got to get a new kicker. Do you trust in Andrew Berry and the scouting team to bring in a new kicker that's like, somehow next week's game is close, or we're close against Green Bay, and you bring out the kicker, and Kevin Stefanski has to go for it on 4th down because he doesn't trust the kicker.
I'll ask you two, as Browns fans and residents of the Cleveland metropolitan area here, do you call Justin Tucker?
What is his – okay, here's my question. What is his suspension status?
Oh, I forgot about it. I think it's a 6-game or something suspension. I think it's a.
And I believe because here's the language of it. I think he's suspended right now. It's not a
10-week suspension.
10 weeks. But it's going right now. It's not going to be like a Deshaun Watson situation where
eligible for reinstatement no matter what, November 11th.
Yeah.
So the Browns would have to wait. And hopefully for you guys' sake, you guys have fixed this kicker problem before November 11th, which I would think would be about week 13, 12, somewhere in there.
About week 11, I think.
So at that point.
Yeah, week 11, week 10 or week 11. And I mean, if the Browns,
my answer is no. I'd rather call me a moral compass of sorts, But I'd rather lose the football game than bring Justin Tucker out. We already have enough problems. It's the same situation. It's like the Spider-Man meme. They're looking at each other. Justin Tucker and Deshaun Watson, except for one got paid and one got cut.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You don't bring it. You have to. We literally just talked about culture and winning culture. I don't care. I know Justin Tucker's a great kicker. First off, you're not winning a Super Bowl solely off a kicker. He is not the quarterback. I get it. But you have to have some sort of good character in the locker room. And like right now, it just feels like they're all running around and there's nobody to point to. Flacco's trying his best, but they know Flacco is just here for like the year. That's
even beyond just not even cut that short. Oh, Joe Flacco's here until the eventual injury. Right? Yeah. Like who goes into a season with that kind of plan and expect to win in that particular season?
Yeah, and you just that's what I'm saying. It's like hopefully, like Rod said, hopefully they fix the kicker situation. But no, you don't bring Justin Tucker in. No, you don't. And that's like
would you have done it? Would you have the 10-week thing? In my eyes, kind of wipes it off.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long.
If it was hypothetically speaking, a 2-week suspension, he's eligible week 3.
I mean,
I know you would say
you're also talking about a kicker who was having some massive accuracy problems last year, which let's face it, that's why he was cut. It wasn't the accusations that were very similar to Deshaun.
Yeah, he would. Yeah,
the Ravens had no problem with the character as long as he was banging 90% of the field goals as opposed to 90% of the masseuses.
Mm-hmm.
So
no PR statement after.
So like. At this point in time, I kind of agree with Moon. If this was a situation that this team was built to compete right now and you were, within arm's reach of an AFC title game or, even beyond that, then maybe you might think about it. But right now, coupled with the character issues, because when you're losing, the only thing they talk about is the character issues and the mistakes. When you're winning, it doesn't matter. But while the Browns are going to be 4-12 or what, a 4 or 5 win team, they can't be taken even more and more, especially 15 minutes after you sign Judkins, and kind of ignore what happened in Florida or what allegedly happened.
That's what Andrew Berry does. It's not about the character.
Callaway. I mean, it started at the beginning. I mean, Antonio Callaway.
Yeah.
It started at the
It starts the very top. Yeah, you're right.
He always, and the same response. It's always something along like, well, we're big on character and building character at the club. Well, what character are we building? Like, exactly. Like at the end of the day, I don't care what you do in your spare time at the end of the day, but we're in a business. Just like we're in a business, we all take care of business in multiple facets.
Mm-hmm.
We know that at the end of the day, we have to operate like there's business to take care of. And I think when you're handed millions upon millions of dollars, or before you even get to the chance to have millions upon millions of dollars and you're making these mistakes, and then we're still signing these guys, it's like, well, what I'm sorry, but what did we really expect to happen?
Exactly. And that's my big concern, not to go macro here, but if it's one game, whatever, but you see stuff like this, you see all the other 31 teams have kickers that they can at least trot out and trust.
You had Young Hoku miss a game-tying field goal for the Falcons. You had Chase McLaughlin, who we know here in Cleveland. He missed a field goal in a key situation for Tampa Bay in the same game. By the way, both indoor kicks. And those are two guys with track records. People have been missing kicks a little bit more than, especially in the first couple weeks of the season. Like if receivers are dropping balls, kickers are probably going to be missing kicks too.
It's just tough because if it was just one kick, fine, but then also a couple extra points and a missed field goal.
Oh, the kick, they should have at least an open competition in this week in practice, if not cut the kicker completely, because unlike Young Hoku and unlike McLaughlin in Tampa Bay, Schmidt has no track record. We don't know this dude at all.
And maybe I missed something, so forgive me. Didn't we have a kicker competition in camp? Or
D-Hop, yeah. Well,
we did.
But look at this. But look
look
what happened with Dustin Hopkins last year. He looked great in training camp, and then shit the bed the first couple weeks of the season. And then Cade York before him did the same exact thing.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. They can find great practice kickers. They just can't find good game kickers.
And this kicker in particular was flawless in the preseason.
Yeah, there was no cause
for practice.
Remember Cade York? He was banging what the 60-yarder, the 58-yard, whatever it was in the pre. We thought Cleveland figured out kicker, and then all of a sudden it was like week 3 and they were looking for a new one. So it happens. But I think we can probably complain about this team well into the night here. It's about 10 till 10 right now. We're talking to you live here on the Inside Edge Network. This is the main event. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I am Rob Royzcki. Talking to you during this Sunday night game, the first Sunday night game of the NFL season. The Ravens are up 20-13. Lamar Jackson's doing Lamar Jackson things, and Derrick Henry, he's a scary, scary man. He has 100 yards at half, already a touchdown. And again, the Baltimore Ravens are up 20-13 over the Bills. I'm sure we'll make a big deal about this game right now, and then we'll forget about it by the time the playoffs start. But we can talk about the NFL again for a long, long time. One thing I do want to do, and I think one thing we all want to do with this show, is talk a little bit more than just football. There are other sports.
Really?
There's baseball, there's basketball.
Can you show that to ESPN?
Hockey. Well, I can't do that because Stephen A. Smith's going to talk about whatever he wants to talk about, and then everybody else is.
What do the Cowboys do?
Yeah,
I know they played Thursday. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they lost. It's about normal.
Yeah,
but we can talk about other stuff too. I know Moon was mentioning stuff throughout the week. Alfred was mentioning stuff throughout the week. Moon had actually a boxing story he wanted to talk about a little bit.
Yeah,
and we'll say boxing right now because it's going to be boxing and senior citizens, right?
Yeah, man. It was actually me and AA collaborate
and felons.
Well,
hey, they're good at math,
plural.
And they back it up. Not to keep going on the Cleveland.
One of them can't read. One of them can't read. One of them was offered $1 million to read Cat in a Hat and wouldn't do it.
Hey, how much does Cat in a Hat pay?
$1 million.
You made more money fighting.
And of course, we're talking.
Hey, listen, if Dr. Seuss, could he be a promoter?
I don't know. Don King managed to do it.
Look, AA brought this idea to my me and AA, Rob. We just find crazy stuff to find, and we found this one. Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather. They're fighting later this year, and my money's on Tyson. It's an exhibition
to
fight,
show his
though.
Behind. I mean, he did that. They crashed Netflix.
I know, but no, I think it'll be cool. Just like the entrances and stuff, and then like hearing them be introduced, and then once the fight starts, we all know what it is. It's an exhibition match. It's probably gonna be no knockout rules. So they'll just, Floyd will dodge him a few times. Mike might connect a few shots, and it was like, ooh, if they were really going at it, he would have got him. But also the weight class difference is like, come on, man.
Can I put some respect in Floyd Mayweather's name for a hot second?
Sure
you can try.
I'm gonna try here because I just mean this from him in the ring, right?
Yeah.
People say like, oh, Floyd Mayweather, like in his prime, was a boring boxer. Like he didn't like go at like Floyd Mayweather when he was facing, competition. And I get it. Listen, did he fight Manny Pacquiao 5 years, 6 years too late? Yes.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
That fight should have happened in 2009, 2010 instead of the backside or midway through 2015.
Right.
But Floyd Mayweather is probably pound for pound the greatest defensive boxer, one of the smartest boxers in the history of the sport. Like for all the time after that. And that's why he was able to get fighters, and he didn't put himself in jeopardy while doing it. The fact that it didn't look entertaining among the viewing public, even though it went 12 rounds.
But he still had Pretty Boy
Well,
Floyd era.
he's a little bit like the Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich Spurs.
Yeah.
Or, Greg Maddux back in the day, where it looked very boring, but they were very, very good at their jobs.
Imagine if Tim Duncan had charisma.
Yeah, well, but I mean, but that's what it is. It's just, Floyd is Mr. Fundamental when it comes down to that. I can't really debate. You can say that he fought some tomato cans throughout the run. 50-0 did not come by 50 All-Star Hall of Fame fighters. But, 50-0 is a crazy number, and that's why I'm a little surprised he's doing it. Because exhibition or not, you're going to have dumbasses like us say, I don't care if it's an exhibition. You lose this, it's going to be 50-1. And he's putting that up against Mike Tyson, who, Mike Tyson, I think, 11 years older. Tyson's 59. He is damn near a senior citizen. But I don't. Are you guys going to watch this thing?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
We might do a watch party.
Okay, well, spring of 2026. So they're talking about, next 5-6 months.
Oh, okay.
Is this, Eli, is this going to be a Netflix thing?
I feel like it has to be. I think so. I just think it's all a setup to get Floyd to Jake Paul.
Sure, I hope
maybe you don't give a shit about that. I'm just saying.
No, I hope. Jake Paul is fighting on Netflix.
Well, that's the other thing too. We can make a case that boxing as a sport is dead. This thing is, who's the heavyweight champion right now?
Usyk, I think. Alexander Usyk.
I would have to Google it.
I don't know if I'm right, but that's my guess.
Do y'all know?
That's my guess.
Yeah, let us know.
That's my guess.
Who the hell is and there's probably about 3 of them anyway, because there's like 16 governing bodies.
Well, there's going to be a big fight next week.
Who?
Canelo Alvarez.
Okay, at least
Bud Crawford, and it's on Netflix.
That is a good fight.
You have,
That is a good
but
fight.
you have a once in a while Flowers for Baltimore AA. So let's see what happened with that one.
Oh, Zay Flowers. Okay.
Baltimore scores.
Told you this is live.
26-13, 12 and a half minutes to go in the third quarter. Sunday Night Football. But you're talking about boxing, and the only fights that anybody's giving a damn about involve reality TV stars, involve boxers who have not been relevant in actual competitive boxing. In Tyson's case, 30 years. Mayweather's case, 15 years. You're talking, or Conor McGregor doing a cross thing with Mayweather from back in the day. The only fights that we seem to give a shit about are these stunt fights. They're not the actual, I don't know, a lot of people, are you guys out there watching Friday night fights on ESPN? Are they, going out and getting pay-per-views, if pay-per-views even still exist?
But I'll add to
something
that.
like that. MMA has basically destroyed slice for boxing.
That's where I'm at.
Boxing's the payphone for MMA's cell phone. That's what that kind of is right now. And the only thing that we kind of care about are these stunt matches.
You're 1,000% right. And I know Double A's a boxing guy, chewing, but you literally, that's exactly what I was going to say, Rob. It's like, at the end of the day, if you can box, well, then just learn a secondary skill. That's what MMA is. Learn a secondary skill, learn a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and now you can go fight in the MMA. And at the end of the day, to Rob's point, which we don't agree a lot. I know that we're back and everything. We will not probably agree a ton. But to this point that Rob is right on, boxing is watered down. Okay, he's right. Boxing's watered down. There's too many titles. There's too many people to try to study and all that stuff. And MMA, I guess, has a little bit of that challenge. But at the end of the day, MMA has what? The UFC has, I think, 2 or 3 women's titles, and then they have their traditional championships. You can invest into the fighters. You can actually, first off, watch the fights. ESPN, obviously having that deal with the UFC, you get to watch so much of it may not be the main, the fighters you want to watch, but it's something to watch to get you invested in the sport. Boxing rarely does that. And if they do, they put it on at 11:30 at night on a Thursday when nobody has any idea about it.
So what was the analogy you guys just used? The boxing is the payphone to MMA cell phone?
Yeah, pretty much at this point, yeah.
I'm going to add to that. MMA could be the cell phone. Today's boxing, I think, is the smartphone now. I'll flip it back. And here's why. As great as MMA is, how many superstars are in UFC right now? Like superstars.
Not a great many, and I think we can probably point at Dana White as the reason for that.
I could point at Dana. I could point at ESPN. The fact that
it's the pay over there. That's the big thing. That's why every big fighter has a problem with Dana at some point in time.
Well, it's the pay. It's the fact of when we were watching MMA in the 2000s and the 2010s.
Yeah,
you knew the stars, right?
right.
Everybody knew, or at least was aware of, like John Jones, Anderson Silva, like some of these other Chuck Liddell, like you knew
Raja Jackson's dad. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Sick. Jeez almighty.
Yes, him too.
Yeah. That guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He was humping women
Oh my god.
during interviews, and he wasn't Me Too by MMA.
No. Well, Me Too and MMA would not mix.
Hey, let's stay focused on what was your original point?
So my point is,
I can't believe I'm the one keeping us on track. We know we're in for a long ride.
No, my point is,
we got to wrap this up in the next 15
Jake
minutes.
Paul, everybody at least knows Jake Paul. Everybody knows, like the fight next week, everything that's going on there. And it's, for me, we've been talking about like boxing's been dead for like 30 years. Like that's not a new conversation. But the fact is, there are individual superstars in boxing that are making themselves known now. Whereas in UFC, nobody in UFC stands out. Nobody.
But it's not in boxing. It's not boxing. The boxing is not the reason why Jake Paul's a superstar. Boxing is not a reason why any is why Mike Tyson's relevant today, or for they're using their social. And it's the same thing. If we want to take it for a half a second to the Browns with Shador, you had people that weren't Browns fans, that weren't football fans, that were rooting for Shador because they follow him on IG. They like his music. They like him as an influencer. That's what Jake Paul's doing with boxing. But I don't know how much boxing is benefiting by that, or how much he is. He's definitely getting a lot of money out of it. But is boxing being abused to where it's now just seen as a sideshow, as just a parlor trick, an opening act kind of stupid thing?
I understand your point, but I less blame Jake Paul. I blame more about the state of boxing in general and the people who have
can't
corrupt.
Blame Jake. He's taking advantage of the situation, making money. Welcome to America.
And Jake Paul, exactly. And Jake Paul, he is promoting fights himself. He just had it all women's.
Yeah, he did a very good job with his last big. Yeah, the undercard was trying to feature a lot of young and up and coming fighters.
Like he did a great job on that front. All I'm saying is this, and hopefully UFC's new deal with CBS and Paramount Plus, like that's a huge deal. The fact you get Paramount Plus and you get all the pay-per-views free of charge, subscription. That's huge. And I think UFC is infinite. They have got to, and I understand that point about Jake Paul. I get that. But it would be one thing if Jake Paul wasn't working hard.
Right.
In doing that. Like if he was, Jake Paul's winning fights. I hate to say it, he's winning fights.
You can tell he's putting in the work. You can
tell he's putting in the work and he's winning fights. So it's not like
it's not a sustainable product. Not to interrupt you, but it's not.
I get it.
Product.
Well, because he doesn't have an unlimited supply of opponents on that level.
Well, not even Jake Paul. Just like the whole influencer in boxing, and like obviously I make music, so like maybe get in the ring myself. But
don't do that. Don't do that.
You're a big boy. Do what you need to do.
All right, we'll see. Maybe we'll vote on it.
I don't know if artists should be getting in the ring.
And like all joking aside, it's like influence.
If you told narrator you were getting in the ring, what did he tell you?
I mean, he believes in me, so he'd say, if that's
you gotta go on tour.
That's what I want to. Yeah,
Eli, you gotta do shows. Okay,
yeah, for sure.
If you're doing shows,
yeah,
after a fight, you're not gonna cancel a show after you got busted in the face.
Well, the whole goal is not to get busted in the face and to win the fight.
Well, what if you did and then you end up at the Brothers Lounge? They got to put some special lighting.
You got to understand, in every fight, both people have that goal, and only one person achieves that goal.
Hey, look, we don't.
There's a 50% success rate in something along that line.
At this point, I don't live in a world of what ifs, so we might just have to make this happen.
I know.
All right.
Because then we're doing the show now, and this is video.
Yep.
We can't just have you we're not gonna be together physically every week.
No.
We can't just be like, oh, here's Rob on cam, here's Double A on cam, and then Eli's camera is suddenly not available this week because he was busted up. He was busted open.
I'm worried about his jaw being wired shut.
You guys really think I'd lose, huh?
I never said that. Did
If
I ever
you
say
were
you were
to
going
Sounds
to lose?
like I'd get my ass.
Did I ever say you were going to lose?
Jaw wired shut, face busted, no
I
camera.
just said busted open. That's
If
all.
you walked and you got into the ring against a trained MMA fighter.
No.
Didn't we do this skit? Didn't you guys do this skit back in the
somebody got
skit?
you got your ass choked out one day.
I was at Cedar Point,
like
and I heard you got choked out.
I was 19, man. 19, 20. I'm 28 now.
Yeah, you don't get faster in your late 20s and the 30s.
No, I know what you guys were talking, like, especially, no offense, Rob, but like you were talking about when I was, 10 years ago when we did this show. Like, you won't be 18 forever. I woke up the other day and I thought my back was locked up. Like,
That's the worst.
It was over.
That's the worst.
I was like, it's over. And
I sat in that exact spot that you're at right now, watching the Guardians game earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And I stood up. Guys, I stood up. My back was out for a week.
Not a week, bro.
I was down and out for the count.
Dude.
And this is just an apartment. You understand how much of a struggle it was to get to my bedroom?
Well, I just went to that and then I'll get back to my influencer point about the boxing, but I just went to the I'm from Cleveland festival yesterday and I checked my steps. I did like 3,000 steps.
Hey, let's go.
Come on.
Let's go.
That's
how it is. It's fitness.
That's a lot of steps. And the phone told me, so I mean, there's a lot of steps.
I'm not used to it. Yeah, I'm sure I could probably set my phone. I work downtown Cleveland, so
Yeah.
I step a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of walking here.
It was a cool time.
Uh,
My take though is just and then I'll leave it at that. The influencing boxing and like boxing, like to Rob's point, boxing is just in a fad right now. Like they're just hot because of the influencing boxing. Eventually, people are going to get sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the UFC has built a strong product to where they've had a star era and now they don't have a star era. But guess what? They're still generating strong gates, getting people to tune in, and they'll have a star era again. So that's, I guess, where I'm at with that.
We'll see what happens with MMA because the amount of money that these fighters are not getting paid and the amount of money that Dana White is getting for every gate just makes these guys almost minimum wage employees. And I think what Dana's trying to do is have a system almost where there are no stars, so everybody's kind of interchangeable. And so nobody has to get paid a lot of money. Hey, okay, you know what? If you're too expensive for us, get out, Connor. We'll bring somebody else in and we'll make a new Connor.
Let me follow
kind
up.
of like a Vince McMahon back in the 80s kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing where it was, or in the 90s where, hey, Kevin Nash leaves, we'll just get new Diesel.
Rob, let me ask you this then. Who's more important to the business then? Like Conor McGregor or Dana White?
It's the chicken and the egg. It's Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan, who needed who. And I think you probably needed, I think probably at that point, you look at Dana White as the guy who's more important in that situation because he's been there overseeing the whole thing. McGregor, I mean, he was really only an active fighter for what, 2 or 3 years. He wasn't really, king shit for all that long.
And after a while, you keep negotiating. Like we were waiting for Conor McGregor's next fight, and then life happens.
But you have, your Chuck Liddells, you have your Rampage Jacksons, you have your guys that are stars that George St. Pierre. The stars have been there, but Dana White, he's the promoter. He knows how to make it go. But that is not to excuse the way he pays those fighters.
No,
it's pretty
not.
bad.
Yeah, absolutely not.
All right. Do we have anything else, Double A? Anything you want to get off of your chest here? That is,
I'm just happy my car survived today.
Oh yes,
I'm
happy my vehicle survived today. No, because I was an idiot. I love football season because the tailgates are unbelievable. They're great. I tell everybody, I'm like, you got to go to downtown Cleveland at least once, whenever, for the tailgates.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, what about the game? Go home.
Well, look what the hell happened today. Yeah, you're having a great old time until he started playing.
Yeah. The like, what's the highlight of Browns football in Cleveland? Anything that happens from like 8. Well, it
Anything
rained
that's
today.
not football related.
Yeah, I saw Donovan Mitchell was. I didn't see him physically, but I know Donovan Mitchell was at the Muni lot yesterday. It's just packed, and once the rain cleared, it was great. Well, here was my issue. I get to my tailgate location. We have great time. Week 1, flowing everything. We're good. We're good. Yeah, we're good. And then like, all right, we're gonna hit up somewhere before I go home. We'll hit up somewhere. So, all right, got water, everything. I'm good. And then I have to walk a mile back to my car. And I get to my car, see my lights are going, my hazard lights. I'm like, they're blinking. And I'm like, okay, maybe I hit my key or something.
Yeah, like a
duk,
kind of thing. Yeah.
Nah.
No,
nah.
It was going for about 4 hours.
It was going ham for 4 hours. And got in the vehicle, and I tapped the brake, and I tapped it because the brake didn't move. The pad was not moving, and and the dash was like, you get this thing expected now.
Clock blinking 12.
Yeah, and it was. I'm sitting there. I'm like, you got to be effing kidding me, because my other plan, like, obviously, like, oh, that's blown. You know what? Like, that's not happening. So you're gonna have to get home and hope that, oh, okay, it's a newer vehicle. I just need a jump. But so I called reinforced. The kudos to my friends for and I know you were working, but. Like I reached
you couldn't have done anything if you tried.
Oh yeah, you don't have a car.
Get the car you can't drive. And
you got to have a car
This is where I
first.
start the weekly fundraiser to get my first car.
Do you have a license?
Do you have a license?
Look, man.
Okay.
So what's up with AA? Yeah.
So I reached out to Rob. My bad. I reached out to Rob and others, but I called Mom, and Mom came through. And shout out to Greg too. Like they came through, and thank goodness it didn't hit me until Rob and I talked about this before the show. Like, holy smokes! Thank goodness I parked on the street, because if that happened in the garage, how could they get in to the garage to jump my car? Like, that would have been a disaster. But it was, in the worst part, because my car is dead, I can't listen to the football game on the radio. So
that's the worst part.
That was one of the worst parts. I at least was able to roll the window down. Yeah. But I'm just sitting there. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, But
yeah,
that was that. And then, of course, I made it back here for the second half of the game, and the game happened.
I'm sorry.
No, it was just like, and I'm watching this, and I felt a certain type of way because I was not angry that they lost. Like, that's the thing. Like, once you are accustomed, and we got to take a bigger show to talk about this.
Yeah. Once
you get used to losing consistently all the time, like generational, right? Mm-hmm. I think about it, since 99, how many playoff appearances? Three playoff appearances. Hey, at least 2 COVID and after COVID, but 3 playoff appearances. Probably, I would say out of my head, off the top of my head, probably 18, 19 losing seasons.
Yeah.
So I think about like
the Browns have lost more than 60% of their games under Jimmy Haslam.
Rob, when we were at iHeart, or you're there, but when I was there, and I hear we used to have people calling talking about, the Indians, Guardians can never make a mistake because they're winning now, and things like that.
Yeah.
The older fans, they watch the Indians never win the pennant, never qualify for the postseason. Like that stretch from the late 40s I know, they still play the 1948 World Series on the radio. From the World Series to 93, basically no playoff appearances.
Well, they were in the World Series in 53 against Willie Mays. I remember the catch that he made against Vic Wertz. Literally, yeah, you're talking the early 50s until the mid 90s. They were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because there was no divisions, there was no anything like that until the mid 60s.
As a fan, once you get accustomed to that,
well,
like you appreciate, like the Browns at some point will probably go on like a mediocre streak of like finishing 500 or something consistently, and we're gonna sit here and be like, those are highly successful seasons.
Well, and you can actually kind of take a look at it with just take the microcosm of the three teams in town here. It's all about expectations. The Browns, they suck. They always suck. So when they do suck, no one gets mad. The Cavaliers, last year they had a 60-win season. They were the number 1 seed wire to wire in the Eastern Conference. They were, except for Oklahoma City, the best team record-wise in the regular season. So when they get knocked out in the second round of the playoffs, we're getting our pitchforks and our torches together. Guardians, same thing this year. Look at last year. They were in the ALCS. They got knocked out in 5 games. The fan base was thinking that, okay, we're going to get more of the same. Last year, that team was in first place. The entire run was the second best team in the American League. And then you're not achieving those expectations. The Cavs didn't achieve the expectations. The Browns, I hate to say it, are the only team in town that is living to their expectations. And, you can look around with anything. Yankee fans are ticked off that they don't have a World Series in 15 years. Lions fans are excited because they actually won a playoff game a couple of years ago. It's all about expectations. And the Browns, in a weird way, have helped themselves out by, hey, if you expect absolute garbage and you get absolute garbage, then we're fine. It's the Dolans in town who are getting smoked for not spending enough because they had a team that was in the ALCS last year. That is now, I think, as we're sitting here, 2 games out of a wild card spot. They
still unreal, by the way, that they're in contention after all the stuff that's been going on.
The Cavaliers, they are, we're basically ready to go LeBron on this and blow off as fans the entire regular season, waiting for, okay, we'll see how Lonzo Ball fits in, and we'll wait for Max Strus and Darius Garland to get back. Other than that, we could give 2 shits until we get to the playoffs.
Right.
So that's where these, the Cavaliers and the Guardians have a bar to jump. The Browns don't.
Right.
So when you have no expectations,
but
it's a little easier to live life.
I don't know about that. I think the Browns started setting a culture though, like a legit winning culture, and then they traded for Deshaun Watson. It wasn't, and that's a different discussion for a different day, but it wasn't broken. I mean,
that's the problem that they've been facing the last 4 or 5 years, and I think that's the backlash they've gotten since this Baker for Deshaun thing kind of happened. It seemed like the Browns were on their way, and
if you notice,
it was yanked out from underneath.
Well, Baker was not, to be transparent, Baker was not at a mature level. The problem was, though, easy
the Browns
to look
didn't
back.
want to coach him.
Yeah, and it's
and one thing I do agree with Mike Tomlin on is like when he says a coach says, "Oh, a guy has a discipline problem, or a guy has a hands problem, or a guy has anything that's not height, weight, or speed, or any intangibles." Because anytime a coach gets rid of a guy for that reason, it's because they don't want to coach him. Yeah. And if it's maturity issues, it's what you drafted a number 1 pick overall, a quarterback, a guy who's going to lead a long-term investment. You had to understand that, and let's face it, Baker wasn't exactly known as a quiet dude when he was drafted. He was not known as a subdued individual. So you knew that you were going to have to break that Bronco to tame him, and you didn't want to break him. You just got him out of town. That's why we're here. And
at the end of the day, it's like what makes Baker's maturity level any different than drafting Quinshon Judkins and now signing into an $11 million deal.
Because Baker's immaturity didn't hurt anybody.
No, I'm saying I was almost being like,
I actually like where Eli was going with that. Like, how could we question Baker's character.
Well, yeah.
Where you're bringing in all these other guys.
Oh, that's true. Okay, yeah.
You're bringing in all these other guys. Is that what I'm getting?
100%. Yeah, it's like you can't get on Baker Mayfield for wanting to be a fun guy because at the end of the day, it wasn't like it was Johnny Manziel outrageous. He just had moxie on the field, and when he lost, you felt it. But he was with you. Like you won and lost with Baker. At the end of the day, you won and lost with Baker. And I think that's, just for a quick moment, I think that's why people flock to Joe Flacco is because you win or lose with Joe Flacco, he makes you feel something. And
he's a leader.
He's a leader. And like Baker's a leader. Whether you want, I get it. We were on a quote unquote time crunch, but the Browns put themselves in that position by wanting to be flashy and bring in Odell. And every time they've got flashy, it's bit them in the ass. And that's what it is. When they don't get flashy, look at what happened in 2020 with Baker and that playoff team. They stuck to the fundamentals and the guys that got them there. Baker, has now come up through the franchise. He's ready to rock. It's third, fourth year in the league. Nick Chubb, still running the football like a madman. We had guys like Jarvis, I believe, in 2020. Jarvis was still on the squad. We saw, we have a focal point leader. Everybody remembers that Hard Knocks training camp that discussion he had about, it's contagious. Like we had leaders that were like on and off the field. Jarvis Landry's out there doing charity softball games at East Lake. I mean, we had a winning culture. They were developing it. Now, every time they get flashy, and this last $200 and whatever $1 million deal to Deshaun Watson is another point proven of once you get too flashy, it can bite you in the ass. And that's just what it did to the Browns. I think it's unfortunate. I didn't see us winning many games this year to begin with, but it's just unfortunate that it's already unraveled this quick. And it's like, as fans, what can we do? Because it's like, we can just not give a shit, but if we don't give a shit, then guess what? At the end of the day, the team's just going to go out of we're going to lose the team.
We're not going to lose the team.
They moved them once. I'm just saying.
No, we're not going to lose the team.
That's a generation away if it were to happen, but
yeah, 100%.
I don't know.
But you will lose fans.
Fans, but if the fans, what I'm saying is, as we talked about Jimmy Haslam as an owner, and we are living the modern day where it's not too hard to just pick up and move and go find someone that would want you. And I'm not saying it, and I'm not trying to cause a huge uproar. I'm just saying, as fans, we are.
This is how you stick the landing to end the show.
Don't worry.
It's real quick. It's a double-edged sword, Rob. Because here's the thing: you care and you care and you care about this team, and they just continue to let you down. But full transparency, I have not bought a Browns ticket. I've been to a few games over the last 5-6 years. I take it back. We got one ticket that we were really excited to go. Everything else was like, hey, we have an extra ticket. You want to go down? But if we stop buying these tickets and we stop caring, well, what's Jimmy Haslam, who has ties in different states already? Who's to say he wouldn't just move them?
Big 600 million reasons why he ain't moving anything anywhere. Is the fat ass check the state of Ohio is going to be stupid enough to cut him, and he's going to get that here. We'll leave that on the dresser when we're done.
Yeah, well,
it's up in the air.
We ain't got time to get into that because if we did, we would talk about how the city of Cleveland, and the state government is doing everything possible.
At the risk of starting up a new thread here and being here for about another 45 minutes, let's wrap this puppy up. This is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcast Network. We're broadcasting to you live. And just to prove that, the Baltimore Ravens are up on the Buffalo Bills 27-19 with about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. I hope you had a good time. We did a horrible job at trying to talk about stuff other than football. But nonetheless, there's a reason why we talk about football, because it just dominates everything. But I hope you had as much fun watching us as we did doing this. Any more closing words for Eli Moon or Anthony Alford over there?
I'm turning my mic off so to end the show properly.
All right. Moon, anything else?
Yeah, to everybody out there tuning in, we're back with a vengeance and with love.
And next Sunday, right? Well, we're going to try to do this next Sunday?
Yeah, next Sunday, hopefully a bit early. Well, I mean, we'll have stuff set up.
Yeah, actually, we'll know what the hell we're doing before this, so we'll get probably closer to 8 o'clock than 9:05.
We had no clue I had no clue with the lighting and the cameras, and again, your sport will get better cameras and all that stuff. Man.
All right. Well, I hope everybody here has a great week and fun time watching Monday Night Football. I hope whatever team you root for is doing well, as long as they're not playing my team. For everybody here, I am Rob Royzcki. I hope you have a great afternoon.
Is it like Joe Buck? I have a favorite team except yours.
There was a little bit of that in there. I understand.